So, yeah, it's been a long fucking time. I'm sorry, honestly. My sincerest apologies. I'm sorry. With that being said, I think I should tell you guys maybe why I've been gone for a month. I ain't gonna lie, so I had an altercation recently, and with this thing, man, and this motherfucker life is whooping my ass. This nigga's 10 and 0. I have no bad. Can you tell? Do I look like life is winning?
Yes.
Nigga, you ain't have to say that. So yeah, man, life is winning, and I'm just currently trying to be a human. Anyway, I could sit here and try to make up a lot of stuff, a lot of mumbo jumbo, a lot of garbage, but I sold. Yeah, I sold. I had plenty of times to record. I didn't feel like it. And today happens to be a day where I, got myself out of bed and I said, hey, today's the day. So before we get started, it's been a little minute. Like the video. Cause bitch, if you don't, I'm in your ass. I forgot to talk.
On the evening of June 2nd, 2007, 18-year-old Kelsey Smith went shopping alone. She had just graduated from high school 9 days earlier and wanted to buy a 6-month anniversary present for her boyfriend, John. However, what was meant to be a quick, uneventful shopping trip instead turned into a tragedy. Though nothing seemed out of place at first, Kelsey left her home in Overland Park, Kansas at around 6:30 p.m. and reached the Target near Oak Park Mall without any trouble about 30 minutes later. She even called her mother shortly after arriving at the store to ask where she could find gift boxes. Unfortunately, this was the last conversation anyone ever had with her. Her family grew concerned when more than an hour passed and she still hadn't returned home. There was no message from her about some unexpected delay, and her phone was going straight to voicemail.
Hi guys, it's Kelsey. Obviously, I can't come to the phone right now. Leave me a message. Bye.
Kelsey was the kind of person who would call her parents even if she was just a few minutes late, so for her to disappear like this was highly unusual. Around the same time, John also showed up at Kelsey's house to pick her up for their date. Unfortunately, he didn't know anything about her whereabouts either. Fearing the worst, her family filed a missing person report. Meanwhile, her sister and John started looking for her around town, desperately hoping that she was just stranded somewhere due to something minor like car trouble. And while they finally found a lead, it raised more questions than it answered. They were searching the area surrounding the Target when they spotted her car parked outside the Macy's on the opposite side of the Oak Park Mall about half a mile from her last known location. This was already strange enough on its own. However, the most concerning part was the condition they found it in. It was fully unlocked, and the only thing missing from it besides Kelsey herself was her phone. All of her belongings, including her purse and the gift she bought for John hours earlier, were still in the car. Which begged the question, what could have possibly caused her to abandon her car in this state? Fortunately, Macy's had a CCTV camera pointed at the parking lot, allowing investigators to acquire the footage and analyze it for potential clues. However, nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to uncover. CCTV footage showed the car pull into the lot at 9:17 p.m., over 2 hours after Kelsey was last heard from. However, instead of Kelsey, an unknown man wearing a white t-shirt got out of the driver's side door and quickly fled the scene. Unfortunately, the footage was too blurry to see any identifying features besides his clothes. What investigators didn't know at the time was the color of his shirt would prove crucial in this investigation. But for now, the focus was on finding Kelsey before it was too late. The next step in their investigation was to analyze the last known footage of Kelsey shopping at the Target. Unfortunately, this footage didn't show anything unusual, at least at first glance. Target's surveillance system had captured her entire shopping trip. Everything from entering the building, to calling her mother, buying the gift, and then leaving in her car. However, while doing a frame-by-frame analysis, one of the detectives noticed a tiny anomaly near the end of the footage. As she was about to get in her car, the camera captured what looked like a man in a white t-shirt running toward her at the last second. There was a strong chance that this was the same man who would later abandon her car in the Macy's parking lot hours later. With this newfound knowledge, investigators watched the footage again, and this time they noticed something even more horrific. As Kelsey was browsing through the store, a man in a white t-shirt could be seen stalking her through every aisle. He kept following her until she was about to pay for her items, and then rushed out of the store before her, likely so he could ambush her as she was getting in her car. Fortunately, the entrance camera managed to capture the only somewhat usable image of his face, allowing investigators to set up a tip line for anyone who knew him. Another camera also captured the make and model of his truck when he arrived at the store minutes earlier. This narrowed down the search considerably. All they needed now was information on who this man was. And after sifting...
Hold up. Anytime, if you've ever, I mean, not ever, I'm talking like I'm just in the street. If you ever get into a situation, right? Somebody robbing you, somebody doing something nefarious, trying to just slime you. For them. If they don't got a mask on and they just running up to you and they on timing, just all bare face out, give them whatever they want. I mean, loot wise, don't get in the car with nobody. Never leave the first location. Never. You better die there. Don't leave. Then you're gonna get chopped up and other stuff's gonna happen to you. You better kill me in the park. I'm gonna tell you this right now. One thing about me, sorry for the long tangent. One thing about me, nigga, you gotta kill me on feet. Somebody break into my house right now, I'm running, bro, like, and I'm not running away. I'm running towards them, like, and as I'm doing it, okay. I think I have a mental illness.
Through hundreds of false reports, investigators finally received a tip from someone claiming to be his neighbor. They recognized his face and
See, I knew
TV
it.
immediately
Somebody
called the
knew
police.
this dude.
Not long after, officers arrested 26-year-old Edwin Hall at his
Like a
home.
fucking
He was
creep.
getting ready to leave the state for a supposed vacation with his wife and kids. Fortunately,
This nigga look like he sniffs seats when girls get up. This nigga look like he go get a pedicure and be like, ooh, tough.
Oh, tough. Yeah.
officers were able to reach him before he fled. Though, to their surprise, Edwin confessed to being at the location without any pushback, and even confirmed that he was the one in the CCTV footage. But he also denied having anything to do with Kelsey. Luckily, his lie did not last long. Investigators had actually found a single unknown fingerprint on the seatbelt latch of Kelsey's car when searching through it earlier. However, it didn't match any print they had on record. But with Edwin's arrest, they were able to take his fingerprints, which turned out to be a perfect match for the one found in Kelsey's car. The same day, police also found Kelsey's remains near a lake in Missouri, about 20 miles from the target. None of which would have been possible if Kelsey's last shopping trip hadn't been captured by Target's surveillance system. Edwin was charged with the kidnapping and murder of Kelsey Smith and stood trial in July 2008. He pled guilty to all charges to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Why this nigga breathing hard like he finna cry?
On the night of Valentine's Day 2017, a home security camera installed outside the house of 35-year-old Ellie Tran showed her returning home from work and pulling into the driveway. Unaware that a dangerous stalker was hiding just outside the camera's view, waiting for the right opportunity to attack. As soon as she got out of the car, the stalker lunged at her from behind the bushes and tackled her to the ground before running away on foot just seconds later. And while Ellie looked mostly unharmed at first, the attacker had actually injected her with a cyanide-filled syringe while she was on the ground, which, for those who don't know, is one of the deadliest poisons on Earth. What made this situation even worse was the fact that this wasn't a crazed stalker or a random serial killer. Instead, this was 30-year-old Joseph Merlino III, Ellie's ex-boyfriend, and someone she had a 2-year-old daughter with. The two got into a relationship sometime in late 2013, and things started off quite well. However, Joseph started becoming aggressive when Ellie became pregnant and invited her parents to live with her. You see, Ellie had actually immigrated to the US from Vietnam before meeting Joseph. She wanted to build a stable life in the US with Joseph and their child, but she also wanted her parents to be a part of this new life. So in 2014,
This nigga injected her with a syringe full of cyanide. You know, I used to give my friends that, no. I really, like, seriously. I used to, you know how you give your friends ultimatums or whatever? I really used to, I used to be like, hey man, what would you do if you were like in a situation and you had beef with a guy or whatever, and the nigga was running at you with a syringe, bro? What would you do? Because at that point, I don't want to fight you. I just want a clear area, bro. Nigga, you're chasing me with a syringe? Bro, I gotta see what happens to this lady. That's so scary, bro.
she flew her parents to the US and gave them a place at her and Joseph's home. This became a major point of contention between the couple, with Joseph becoming more and more aggressive with each passing day. Things escalated to the point of physical violence by mid-2016, forcing Ellie to break up with Joseph and get a restraining order against him. She also kept full custody of their daughter. However, Ellie knew that Joseph wasn't going to leave her alone so easily. She lived in constant fear that he would one day show up and take their daughter from her, which was the only reason she installed security cameras both inside and outside her home. But even Ellie couldn't have predicted the lengths Joseph was willing to go for revenge. Immediately after the attack on February 14, Ellie tried to get inside and call 911. She didn't know exactly what had happened, but she knew he had injected something into her leg. But she passed away before making that call. Luckily, her mother saw everything, including Joseph's face as he was running away. She called emergency services and Ellie was rushed to a nearby hospital. Unfortunately,
Bro,
it was
kill
already too
this
late.
nigga, man.
Cyanide prevents cells from using oxygen, which is needed to keep them alive. The cells can no longer produce energy, and vital organs like the heart and brain start failing rapidly, leading to a state of internal suffocation, even if the person is breathing. By the time Ellie reached the hospital, she had already suffered severe brain damage. She was pronounced brain dead shortly afterward, forcing her parents to make the painful decision of cutting off her life support. The home security footage, alongside the statement from Ellie's mother, allowed investigators to zero in on Joseph and arrest him just 3 days later on February 17. They also searched his home and found several other dangerous items like guns and materials for making explosives. However, despite the evidence, Joseph tried to claim that he was in a different city on the night of the murder and that the person in the home security footage was someone else. However, the prosecution didn't believe any of it. Phone records proved that his statement about being in a different city was a complete lie. More importantly, prosecutors were able to prove that the murder was fully premeditated. Forensic analysis of his internet traffic revealed that leading up to the crime, he had searched terms like, how many milligrams of cyanide will kill you? What if cyanide gets in the bloodstream? And what if cyanide gets injected? Investigators were also able to track down the people he purchased cyanide and the syringe from on marketplaces like eBay and Etsy. However, the most damning evidence proving his sinister motives came from an incident that happened back in December 2016. According to Ellie's mother, Ellie was coming home from work one day when suddenly a man approached her and threw an unknown chemical on her. Thankfully, the chemical only burned her hair and caused minor burns on her scalp, allowing her to recover without any permanent injuries. Ellie later told her mother that she believed the attacker was Joseph. This showed that Joseph was coming up with ways of harming Ellie even before the lethal attack. Joseph, however, stayed adamant that he was innocent and even went on a hunger strike for a few months before his trial.
Nigga, so what?
Prosecutors believe he did this to lose a lot of weight and look significantly different from how he looked in the security camera footage, possibly hoping to trick the jury into handing out an innocent verdict. Unfortunately for him, this plan failed as well. He stood trial in December 2018 and was sentenced to life in prison.
Hey, man. I don't got a lot of time. Super short video. I love you guys. I love you guys. Some sick fucking people out here, dude. This man's a bioterrorist. What? I'm overstimulated. I don't know why I watched this shit. Probably because chilling scares is that guy. Go subscribe. Full video in the description. Leave a like. Leave a comment. I love you guys. Do you love me? Don't dodge it. Come here.